Hi everyone, welcome back from break. I will not be issuing any formal slides this week on the topics and discussion of copywriting and visual communication. I think it's better to actually just kind of show that. And in fact, when you look at the textbook, it does a really good job, I think, in chapters 9 and 10 of providing kind of a nice overview. What I would be adding wouldn't be much different or substantive. So I do think the text does a nice job on those two particular topics. So what I'd like to do in general is more talk a little bit more about examples of that. Before we get to that, I wanted to make some comments on the discussion board from the previous week, and I maybe it was because of the content, I don't know, or the topics. For instance, the video or the video commercial on Dermabond, I think, solicited a lot of input and interesting commentary from everybody. And I really do believe that that's the kind of dialogue I'm looking for. So I was very happy with the kind of discussion that got brought up and the fact that you guys were going back and forth and sort of not challenging, but sort of asking each other about different comments and how that sort of worked and different takes on things. So I really, really did enjoy that. I think that's what a discussion board is, where you're sort of bringing up different topics and going back and forth on it. Really like seeing that, and I think that's what my typical goal is, and it ends up being a discussion like we're sitting around the table with some coffee or tea and just kind of throwing things around, and that's what really drives the creative process. So I was very happy with that, and very sort of excited to see that kind of dialogue. And I think sometimes that takes a little while to kind of develop, but people I think are doing a really good job, and want to continue to see more and more of that as well. So and if you think about actually visual communication in the topics of chapter 10 and how you sort of present information, that's a pretty stunning visual that really gets people, sometimes polarizes them one way or the other. So I think the key things here, at least on good copywriting, and I've got a couple links here that are interesting. We're looking, basically focusing on print ads at the moment and talking about copy. And on this website here, it looks at really good sort of attention-grabbing copy, and that's what you want to do with an ad. What you want to be able to do is kind of stop somebody. In this particular case, when you look at this print ad, you've got some pretty bold colors, so that in and of itself, right, color can be a attention grabber for sure. This is a pretty simple, very, very simple print ad, and it's bolding and showing, so what does your eye get sort of attracted to beyond the colors? Well, you see so you see some stuff that's in bigger font than some of the others. So those are the words, obviously, that they want you to focus on, right? Without Phil Collins, in Paradise, and then you've got the call letters for the particular radio station here, 88.6. So there's a couple things they want to get. They want to get your attention. They do that. They're trying to focus on the kind of music that gets played on this station, which typically is what drives interest. And then the call, basically the station number, right, is an important thing because they want you to be able to tune to it. So that's a simple ad, very effective for sure. Putting something upside down, right, typically grabs people's attention, like that, obviously, a Beck's Beer logo that's been reversed. So that's kind of interesting and maybe should attract your attention. I mean, there's a lot of copy in here to try to understand what's going on, but at least it might make you stop on that page where normally you wouldn't if you just saw the Beck's Beer logo right side up. Another interesting ad here, The Economist, which is a great newspaper. It's a great world. I shouldn't say newspaper. It's a magazine. It's a periodical. And they kind of look at, sort of making you think, right? That's what The Economist is all about. It's a thinking magazine. And, not all mind-expanding substances are legal, so that's kind of a creative take on, obviously they're talking about recreational drugs, right? Does anyone ever ask for your opinion? No, not you, the guy behind you. Again, just trying to be a little unconventional to kind of get your attention. This, I think, is a great ad because of the copy. So remember, when you got that variable speed hammer drill, it'll make her feel kind of like that. So obviously targeting the male buyer, right, for that certain someone in their relationship. But that's the kind of thing, the excitement that you may get from something is the excitement that other people get. That is great copy. It's simple. It drives a message home. Not that easy to do that. So good example. I mean, simpler tends to be better in copy, at least in my experience. Also, here you've got some visual elements here. This is an ad for Lamborghini. Please do not drive faster than your GPS satellite can fly. Okay, great. Here you see the use of color, right, where you've got the actual cars of interest that are in the color to speak, and then everything else is black and white or grayed out in the back. Certainly the logo wouldn't be that way either. So that's actually a great example of visualization and small copy that is kind of interesting, and then you've got the fine print underneath there. This one here is definitely very well done. In and out what your girlfriend had for breakfast. Find, no, but not in. Oh, find. Oh, there you go. I get it. So, find out what your girlfriend had for breakfast. I mean, that's kind of a twisted sort of thing, right? You get in one of these cars and can drive incredibly fast and take tight turns, and then have someone that you're with obviously lose their breakfast. That's a sort of a creative thing, and you've got the visual of the car, and then obviously it's a very interesting layout and concept. The copy's pretty simple. Once you figure out that's a big F there. So great examples of copy, right? Very simple. Here's a nice visual. 4 weddings and a funeral and a toilet cleaner. That's kind of different for sure. It definitely is a visual that makes you stop, and clever play, I guess, on the words. Here, classic, right? Picture of an iconic image of a VW van. It's unusual to drive the vehicle you were conceived in. And then, again, pretty clever. Kind of play on words there. Again, you've got something, a piece of copy to sort of drive you in. Okay, that's clever. And then maybe you'll read all the particulars here of what it's all about and trying to understand it. They're obviously not making the VW van anymore. At least I don't think they are. Not in that carnation anyway. But that's more of a branding element, which is pretty creative. Okay, of course it's a VW van. Ask your dad. So there's a big visual, right? You say, wow, what's that? And then again, a small copy line to try to tease you into reading the balance. That's more, again, of a branding ad, not a product ad. Use of, a simple kind of, obviously that's a typewritten type of thing. Old school, right? So okay, so you not start reading that. That is definitely a different kind of ad, and something that's trying to take you in because it is different. Obviously, there's the logo there, and trying to figure out. So here you might be drawn into this because you're trying to figure out what the hell it is, and what it's all about, and what it's trying to say. The power of TV at the end, but you may be prompted to go and read the whole thing. Yeah, there's a very sort of interesting ad, right? Cancer cures smoking, because obviously the end result of cancer is death. So that's not saying much, but it's saying a lot, right? So this is kind of a minimalist type of thing that they're trying to get out there. So these are all great examples of powerful use of copy in driving thing. Here's a couple of other ads, print ads that we're looking at here. And that focus on, again, a memorable tagline. I mean, there's nothing more memorable than think different, not think differently, right? The fact that the ly isn't there and it's not grammatically correct is the whole element behind Apple, and it kind of defines the company in and of itself. America runs on Duncan, a great tagline for a local company. we bring good things to life. That says a lot about a very large global multinational company like General Electric. Just do it is a tremendous tagline for Nike. Eat fresh for Subway. The breakfast of champions for Wheaties. So these are very well known, and a lot of times these taglines can carry with them some pretty interesting benefits to the company as well. These are some pretty eclectic, different types of ads that look at using different fonts. And we had our font discussion, right? I was surprised, but I think the comments on the font that was in the Cherry Semiconductor Strategic Plan were valid. So you can use these things to sort of stand out, and obviously something that's like this is a bit more not whimsical, but sort of kind of sets the stage for the kind of topic that you're talking about. This one's clever. It uses a topography for looking at what you do on a chalkboard, so that's kind of interesting. There's a chalkboard background, and that looks like someone had actually done that and drawn it. So there's a very effective tagline there. Very simple. There's a picture of the product. Think before you write. So making you think that before what you use as a writing instrument might matter to you. Clearly, you can look at. Here's an example of oversized font here, with something to sort of draw you in, and you've got an image, a cartoony image, and the font that goes with it. So that kind of plays right. So there's all kinds of techniques that advertisers use in integrating copy, and what your focus should be. This clearly is going back to the old cartoony kind of retro look, and that's what they're trying to go with there. And a font that sort of bright bulb, where the idea is just to click away. Again, kind of an old retro look there that is interesting. That's a bit more rich, kind of, it's kind of bold topography, and then an illustrated background there. So there are all kinds of interesting techniques that you can use. Here, the use of color, it's pretty clean, it's, sort of sharp, and kind of stands out. Again, when you're trying to get somebody's attention with an ad, you don't have more than a fraction of a second or two to get it. Here the color helps. The fact that you've got bold, clean topography helps as well. Creating beautifully better websites just for you. Smart, simple, super awesome. So that's kind of a play here. And that's obviously a screenshot from a website that works. So all these things, you can look at them, very different styles, very different techniques. Here's sort of a very more Spartan kind of element with some, those are the things obviously that they, a lot of times by, changing colors, fonts, and, just sizes make a difference. Obviously you're going to be drawn hopefully first to this clean, smart, effective web design, best darn website period ever, and then you might read some of the copy too that's in there. So again, good, interesting examples. You should check this website up. Here is the URL here that you can just copy and use and get an idea of that. The other thing that I'd like to talk about as it relates to this was actually an ad. If you looked in the text, I believe, what page is it here really quick if I can find it. I believe it was in been in chapter 10, but it's an interesting ad by looking at young women, right? So Nike was trying to target a broader, it's on page 273 of the text, and it was their strategy to talk to women about sports and working towards their feelings, which I think with women is a bit more part of the discussion. This is a very successful campaign, and targeting women, and women actually buy more than half of the purchases that are out there. So I think that's kind of a very good job by them, targeting early, right, getting people engaged, and trying to move them forward as regular customers as they get older. So this was a very effective ad targeted at that. One other thing, and I don't know if you've seen this, this has just gone viral over the past few days, right? So looking at stats here for this particular commercial, I don't know if they're planning, and I'm assuming that they're planning a TV version of this, if you will. So I mean, this thing just kind of hit the web, just a few days ago, really not that long ago, and you can see, I mean, it's up to 27 million hits in a very short amount of time. Look at the demographic here, right? You're talking males, right? A bit older, so 35 to 40, 54. I don't know, I mean, is that sort of the NASCAR set, whatever. But this is a very clever and a very modern commercial. And if you think about this, it probably cost Pepsi a ton of money to kind of architect this. I'm sure Jeff Gordon didn't come for free, but the actual cost to put this on and get people to see it is minimal because it's on YouTube, right? They're not paying anything for that per se, and it was just a very well done scam. Whether this guy was truly an unsuspecting bystander or whether he was an actor that was part of it, you never really know, although he did seem to do a pretty good job. And a lot of companies, particularly smaller companies that don't have the financial resources required to put commercials on broadcast or cable TV, if you can get something to go viral, it ends up being a very, very cost-effective element. There's some comments here about how you make something viral, and there's this comment here from Gwen, right, using authenticviews.com. There are all kinds of techniques that companies can use to make things go viral and move forward. Interesting comments nonetheless. But this is a great example of, so what does this have to do with Pepsi itself? Well, you've got a person who's very accomplished at what they do. It's kind of a fun, interesting kind of story. So it associates, that kind of fun-loving culture with Pepsi, and it's just a modern example of what's happening with content and sort of the visual element, and what's happening with advertising in general, where the web is becoming a bigger piece and a much more significant core advantage for smaller companies as it is for larger ones. So even a company like Pepsi that's got a ton of money that they can put towards advertising, even they, right, are taking advantage of this channel because it's a very, very effective element at getting their message out. So something to think about too, and I think actually companies traditionally they would look at visual elements and look at those moving forward. Well, you know what? That's changed a lot. This kind of channel in particular of using the web is very, very effective. So I think most companies see it as an integration and a big piece of that they maybe even sometimes talk about beforehand, right? Because those aspects kind of matter. So that's it for this week. I hope you get on the discussion board as quickly as you can. I will have the exams back to you within a day or two for sure. People did really well on them. I just need to put them in the gradebook and get them back to you, and I will do that. Also, make sure that you get your fan page and those links up and running as soon as possible so that I can take a look at them and we can obviously see how you do versus your objectives. Speak with you soon. Oh, by the way, so I will be on campus next week. It won't be Tuesday, probably Wednesday or Thursday, more than likely. So we're talking about the probably the 27th or the 28th, but I'll give you some heads up before that and let you know. Thanks.